Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Attic Antics. Garden edition. We're in a garden. We're in a garden. We're not in an attic. This whole thing's a sham.
We're actually not in a garden. I wouldn't call this a garden.
It's a garden, Jeana. Just paint a picture. What do you see?
I see.
I'm here with my guest, Jeana Lee, by the way.
Hello.
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 How are we doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of tired, to be honest. You know when you're like physically and like mentally drained?
Yes.
That's kind of like the state I'm in right now.
That's tight.
But I'm happy to be here. Always happy to be hanging out with my pal Cam.
Always happy to be hanging out with my pal Jeana.
Cameron.
Jeana, can you explain to me how you got the job of the morning announcement lady?
Oh, okay. So it's a pretty simple story. So, basically, it was like maybe the second week of school, like the beginning of the school year. And I walk into theater class, play production, my favorite class. And
that she has with me.
Exactly. Me and Cam are tight because of play production.
Yes.
We love that class.
We love it.
Exactly. And I was walking in, and then Miss Woods was talking to Jake, like, in front of the door of the classroom. And so I kind of just looked at them, and I was like, hello. And then I walked into the door, and then, like, they were talking about something. But I don't know what they were talking about.
But they were heavily invested in the conversation.
They were deeply in some conversation about something. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Miss Woods calls me outside, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, what is this about? And then she just, like, drops me the question, like, do you want to be the morning announcement person? And I was like, yes.
Way. That's incredible.
Yes, of course. And that is how Jeana Lee became.
So it's not anything cool.
It
was just a nice conversation.
No, they were just like, do you want to do the morning announcement? And I was like, sure.
Well, how has it been? How has your morning announcement experience been?
I love, releasing my soothing voice throughout the walls of the classroom, you know? It's like ASMR. I am the ASMR.
You do have a nice radio voice. I think I think you should whisper, though. Yeah, you have a nice radio voice.
Why should I whisper? Then no one can hear me.
Well, no, it's like whisper into the mic.
Oh.
So everybody will be able to hear you, you know?
Yeah.
The whole school will be able to hear the soothing tones of Jeana.
Exactly. People are like, yeah, your voice is pretty nice.
Yes.
I'm like, is it though? Like, is it actually?
Hey Jeana, who do you have for freshman PE?
I had Bolichi. That's such a random question.
Okay, I don't know, because I just walked by and I saw Mr. Linda, and
You had Linda for freshman?
I just thinking about how, he's just like my king, alright? Like, there's no man I respect more on this campus than Mr. Linda. That man like stands up for like racism and he's just a really just motivational figure. And I don't think my freshman year would have been the same without him.
Oh God.
But anyway, I was just thinking
he motivates you because he's a racist.
No. He stands up against racism. He left his old school.
I thought you said he was standing up for racism.
He left his old school because they didn't do like anything about this like really bad assault case at his high school.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was real bad, and he was like, "I'm out." Like
he's like a pretty cool guy.
He's a badass. But anyway, I was just thinking about how strange the concept of PE is. Do you think that PE makes the youth less obese, Jeana?
I have no idea.
You think it's effective?
I feel like it actually is, because like PE, well, at least for like elementary school kids or like middle school kids, you know?
Yes.
Because like PE, when I was in elementary school, like we actually like tried, you know? Like,
yeah, they were like, run! Run!
You gotta be the fastest runner!
You gotta pass that presidential fitness test. Like, do you think that has any, like, effect? Like, there's cool, I got a paper signed by Obama in 3rd grade. Like, but do you think, like, fat people were like, I want that?
That they want PE?
Like, do you think that the presidential fitness test does anything, Jeana? Tell me.
I don't think so.
Okay. You heard it here first. Jeana doesn't believe in education.
I don't believe in physical education. Actually, I feel like it does help to some degree. Because at least they're not doing nothing. Also just, like, a good break from,
do you think it should be required? You know? Do you think it should be required? Or do you think students should have, like, their own, like, intrinsic motivation to be healthy?
I think it should be required.
Okay.
Not for, like, high schoolers, because at high school you're at that point where you're just, like, you know, you're starting to become an adult and you should make your own decisions.
Absolutely.
But elementary school, I liked PE when I was an elementary school kid,
Yes.
I liked running around and playing games and stuff. That was the best times.
Yeah, you play tag.
Yeah, exactly.
It's tag and
whatever wall
hide and seek tag and wall ball. Yeah,
and capture the flag. That was freaking fun stuff.
It was freaking fun. We were just little chillin'.
Little goobers, just running around.
Just smelling.
Those were the good times, Cameron.
Dude, Jeana.
And now look at us.
Now look at us.
In
a car.
In a freaking car in the middle of an imaginary garden.
With cheetah print headrests.
And a freaking... What are those called?
Nerf guns.
Nerf guns and... What is that? What are they called again? Freaking edibles. In the car. And now... We're just chilling. We're vibing.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well,
that's what we're doing.
I'm going to have to cut that part out because we're not allowed to talk about drugs.
Yeah, damn it.
But anyway, okay, how do you want to look? Oh, this will be the code word. Beans. All right, now.
Freaking beans in the car.
Yeah, freaking beans, man. Hey, Jeana, so how'd you get into theater? I've never heard this story before.
Oh, you haven't heard this story?
I haven't heard the Jeana experience.
I feel like I haven't told a lot of people.
I would love to hear the Jeana experience.
Yeah, so basically, my freshman year, I was I think I put theater as an alternate class, and for some reason, they put me in theater by accident, in theater 1, and I remember just going to that class, and I was this is such a weird class, it's kind of whack, and there was it was kind of a random group of people in that class. It was football senior, varsity football seniors. Yeah, exactly. And then there was random freshmen and then some juniors and sophomores. So I was oh my god, this is kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about this. And I was gonna drop after the first week. But then we started playing games and stuff, and then we started doing scenes, and then I just started kind of vibing with it, It was it was nice. It was I've never done that type of thing before, acting and
Absolutely.
Putting yourself out there and kind of working towards different characters and stuff, and it just kind of clicked, and so I kept doing it, and then I really like the fact that you kind of just get out of your comfort zone. And I feel I didn't do a lot of that when I was in middle school and stuff, and so it's just a nice way to just get out of your comfort zone and work on something and try being different characters and stuff. And at first it was weird to me, I was this is so hard to separate you from yourself and your character. But then it just kind of after we did more scenes and rehearsals and stuff, it just got so much more fun. And then I just kept doing it. I did theater 2 and then theater 3 and 4, and then I met all of you guys. And I feel the fact that we've done theater together for 3 or 4 years, I think the fact that we did that together throughout the years made us really bond and grow closer. And I think that's one of the greatest parts that I love about our class, and I'm super glad that we were a part of that.
That's dope, Jeana. I like that.
Deep stuff.
Do you feel you're a different version of yourself when you're in theater class? Because I noticed that a lot, and I was thinking about it on the way over here. Miss Woods has a very unique job. I was thinking I want to ask her.
Yeah, I guess so.
I want to ask her what her motivation to become a teacher was, just to hear her answer. But because it just got me thinking, she has a very interesting perspective, because she sees kids at their most
yeah,
they're on the edge of leaving their comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She has kids that are because there's a lot of classes and a lot of dynamics in high school where people just they don't find that comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And theater, I feel it really creates an atmosphere of accepting and warmth. Do you share that belief?
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. I feel like theater kids are so different from like regular classmates in like different classes, like a math class, for example. Like,
absolutely.
A random student in your math class is so different from like the theater kids in our class, and I think it's just because like we're all people, like we're all in an environment where we're just like putting ourselves out there like constantly.
It's very vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. We're always getting out of our comfort zones and like going on stage and performing in front of each other, and we just grow so comfortable with each other to a point where we could just like be ourselves, you know?
Absolutely.
And we're like super authentic around each other, and like we're all super weird, but like we accept that, and we're not gonna be like, oh, he's weird or like whatnot, because it's like
we're all just weird.
Exactly, we're just all freaking weird.
Very true.
Exactly.
That is very true.
So we're like a family, you know?
Yeah.
Like what we were talking about before.
We're a little quirky little fam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think especially after we did Linnea, and we went to freaking Folsom and like performed and like worked on the Shakespeare play for like literally the whole school year. Yeah. I think after we worked on that together, we just had so much better dynamic. I think like performing in front of like a giant crowd, like as a group, and like working together towards a goal in the end, and like just having fun, I think that really like brings people together. It's really, you know, it's all about, it's a different vibe.
It's a sense of different. Like it's a sense of community, man, because you're a community of people with a similar interest in mind and working towards one common goal. Yeah. And that's what's so special about it. That's what's so special about it.
I feel like it's such a unique community though, because like I'm a part of like a lot of different things, like swim team or like church and like my club stuff, but I feel like theater is just like so different and so unique in like a good way, you know? It's like we're all super tight, and like I can just feel so like at ease when I'm in the class, and like it's just super fun, you know? Like I love everyone in that class. Like we're all quirky. If one person wasn't in that class, like it wouldn't be the same.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're very right. Gino, can you tell me your Linnea experience? What did you take away from Linnea?
Linnea was like probably one of the best experiences like I've had in my life, I would say. It's like probably like top 10, I think. Yeah, it was like kind of like a first time experience for me, because like I've never been to a theater competition, first of all, and I just thought it was a really good way, because like it's our senior year too. I thought it was like a really good way to kind of like not close off our theater experience in high school, but just to like kind of have that experience, you know?
Totally.
It was like once again getting out of our comfort zones, but it was so much fun, Cameron. Like it was fun. You're getting out of your comfort zone. Like the audience literally loved us, and like I was just super proud of everyone while they were performing. Like when we were watching Gavin and like Elena perform, and when we watched like the scenes and like the monologues and stuff, it was just like super cool to just support everyone, and like the amount of support that we had for each other and like the respect we had for each other was just like really, that was like testament to like our class and like our support for each other. So I thought that was like super cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yo, at Linnea, we had to I'm just giving a little background, a little color commentary, right?
Color commentary.
When we were at Linnea, all the jokes that we were doing were like silly like penis jokes, or like Shakespeare jokes, or like silly jokes. That you had to like be a theater kid to get.
Exactly.
And like our audience was like so packed, and
I
like
know, there was a lot of them.
And they like we had to pause so many more times than we anticipated for laughter. I know. That we actually went over time.
Exactly. That kind of sucks.
But like the thing is, Jeana, that I said in class, like I still like always remember, man. Always remember that moment where like I was about to go on stage with Kaylin and Jake for the announcer scene, the football scene, I go we look at the clock and we're like,
oh my god,
it's so bad. But then like I had like this realization in the moment. I was like, it doesn't matter. Like I'm having such a good time right now. Like I want such a high.
Exactly. Like that was all worth it. Like I don't care if we didn't get an award or if we went over time. Like all just that moment.
Just that feeling and, of like the
high. It was just like so.
Especially
like,
walking out into the other room when all the other
I know!
kids that
were
like standing ovation,
exactly.
just like
freaking standing ovation, and then we
like,
walk out. They were like screaming and clapping,
and how everybody would come up to you later and they'd be like, "Were you guys from Cal High?"
I know.
And be like, "Oh, you guys were so good," or
we're like, "Oh, thank you."
It's like it's the place where everybody can be famous for a weekend, you know.
And like,
it's sick.
Yeah, and being around other theater kids from like other schools was like also pretty cool.
Did you have any fun interactions with other theater kids? Because I had one.
No, not really, but oh, you did?
I just talked to a guy. It was like a 5-second maybe 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because you remember the first show we saw? The spelling bee one.
Yeah, the spelling bee one.
We watched the show. It was student written, student directed.
Yeah.
About a spelling bee,
exactly.
And there were just like stereotype characters doing stereotype things.
That was
quality. And the best joke that like we remember is
there were so many of them.
What is it, Jeana? There's one.
Was it the Pizza Hut one?
Yep. You know it, Jeana.
Oh my God.
You know it. You can't out Pizza the Hut. Actual line from like
flashbacks. He literally smashed that pizza box into that guy's head. I was like, what is going on right now?
So I talked to the dude that wrote it.
Oh, who wrote it?
It was just this kid.
Was he acting in it? Who was he?
He was one of the spelling bee moderators.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was like one of them.
Was it? I don't even remember what they looked like.
Yeah, neither do I. He was like, yeah, one night, me and my homie, we just got on Discord, busted it out. I was like, bro. And so I was like, it was just like such a stupid train of thought, but I was like, dude. When I was watching that, the whole time, I kept thinking, wow, this was something in your head. And then it came out of your head. And now I got to see it with my eyes. Exactly. I was like, that's crazy. And he was like, because, like, how the fuck do you respond to that, Jeana? I don't know. Like, Riley says that her favorite part about dating me is just, like, other people's reactions to the shit that I say. So
that's
it's
her
like...
favorite part. I love
But,
that.
yeah, he was just like, yeah, that's cool. Like, thanks. Like, I appreciate it.
I can't believe he whipped that out in Discord.
Yeah, right? He just...
And then it freaking goes to, like, Linnea. Like a freaking like national-wide theater competition.
Can you imagine that conversation or like his teacher reading that script? Like
what were they thinking?
They're like, okay, we're gonna go to Linnea. We gotta write our own play. All right, exactly. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Jeana? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, Miss Woods? What are we gonna do, Miss Woods? We're gonna write our own play. What's it gonna be? Okay, you're gonna write it. All right, write it by this date. All right, gets it, turns it in. It's like, oh. Okay.
Oh, is this the only script we have? Okay, I guess we're gonna use it then.
Guess we're gonna do it.
And they did it. They freaking did it.
They had like this tiny white kid play this...
Jaquavis?
Play this character named Jaquavis.
So
and talk about... And like, the only purpose of his character was to go up and deliver monologues about how his dad went to the gas station for a pack of cigarettes and never came back.
Was that what it was?
For a gallon of milk, he said, yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was like, oh. I loved it. Like
that show was a wild ride.
I was infatuated by like
the
genius of these like these two writers. I was just like, wow, this is hilarious.
I just like it was pretty creative though. I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, what was the plot?
I mean, like, how do you get that out of the back of your head?
It was
what
was it? It was like, a spelling bee, and then they were in court.
Yeah, like what was their inspiration for that? Honestly.
Just banter. Banter is the inspiration for all, Jeana.
Dude, Cameron, we should write a play.
Jeana, what do you want to write our play about?
We should write it about
I would love to hear all of your ideas. Ideas? Life is pretty broad, Jeana. You're going to have to narrow it down.
Okay, now we got to narrow it down from there. Okay, how are we going to narrow it down from that?
All right, maybe gardens?
Gardens?
Maybe we can do a parody satire of Adam and Eve written as if it's Alexander Hamilton and Eliza, okay? And so the chick that he cheats on is the apple, and Alexander is Adam, and Eliza is Eve, and she's just like doing her thing, you know, just being Eliza, and then like I don't know, Aaron Burr is like serpent, and he's like Okay.
Oh my God, let's do it.
Okay, let's bust it out. All right,
and and our class has to use it for Linnea next year, even though we're not going to be there.
All right, Act 1, Scene 1. Alexander / Eve appears, his head is growing on a tree. We superimpose his head on a fruit on a tree, okay? And then it's like, okay, the first human was born, and his name is Alexander Hamilton. And then Jeana, and then you and I duet the song Alexander Hamilton, but God. We changed the lyrics to be like, and like we pretend that it's the year 0, but like also.
Dude, how do you get this out of your mind?
Dude, that's it, Jeana. It's all your about. Mind. So the ideas, they must first escape the pen or the mouth in case we're recording.
True. Dude, I feel like sometimes I have a hard time being creative.
How come? Why is that?
It's hard for me to like pull.
You got a lot of stuff on your plate. Do you know what kind of what clubs do you run? What clubs do you run?
I just run Green Team. I'm the president of Green Team.
You're president of Green Team?
Yeah.
You're on the swim team?
I'm on the freaking swim team.
You do. What else? Church stuff? Very involved?
Yeah. I teach high school, middle school kids every Friday night at my church.
What do you teach them?
You know, it's kind of like a Bible like interpretation
discussion-based
class. So it's like we read the Bible and then we like kind of interpret it for ourselves and then like talk about how it relates to our personal lives. So basically it's just like we sit there as a group, man. And we just vent out our personal lives and we just, you know, it's like pouring out your soul.
Wow. That's really cool.
I know, deep stuff.
So wait, how much of an effect has religion played on your life, Jeana, up to this exact moment?
I would say that it has like a huge effect on my life. Just because my parents are like super religious, you know? And so like ever since I was a child, I was like, God is real and heaven is for real. And you know, like it's just like part of like who I am, you know? Cuz like they like drilled that into my head since I was like literally a baby. And so we've, like, never missed church. Like, I'd only miss church if I was, like, sick. And then we always go to church on Friday nights and whatnot. And I think, like, the community is really great. Because, like, since I go to church all the time and I go to, like, a really small church. So we're kind of like a family at this point. And, like, they kind of know everything about me. And they're, like, the kids at my church are, like, literally my siblings. And so...
Like, literally?
Like, literally.
Like, they're literally related to you?
Well, some of them are.
Okay, cool. Nice.
And so, like, the community aspect is really nice. And it's also just, like, this is getting pretty spiritual now. But, like, it's nice to, like, kind of... Because we have, like, teachers. We have, like, these church teachers on Sundays. And they kind of, like, teach us lessons. And, like... It gets pretty deep, you know? It's, like, the type of stuff you wouldn't really learn at school. It's, like, very spiritual and, like, how does the role of God play in your life? And, like, I guess I'm not very good at explaining it, so if I talk about it, it might sound kind of stupid for, like, someone who isn't religious and, like, doesn't, like, know much about Christianity and stuff. But, like, some of the topics that they tackle is just, like, so, like, real, you know? It's, like, you just... feel it and you like understand it on like a spiritual and like emotional level. And so it just like it's good for me to like have that in my life because it's kind of like a break from like worldly like earthly things, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Because like a lot of the times like we're chasing after like one goal after another, like, oh, I need to get a good grade in my freaking like AP stats class, or oh, I need to like do really well in swim team so that I get on varsity, and I need to do well in theater so I get like the lead role, you know? And then like if you keep chasing after that stuff, like once you do get it, you're like, oh, is that it, you know? Like yeah, I achieved that goal and that's like really great, but once you get there, you're like, oh, okay, now I want something more, you know? So you're always like us as human beings like always want something more, you know? And we're always like chasing after different things. And so like I feel like in the future, like if I keep chasing after those things, I get really like unsatisfied and just like really drained. So I think it's good to like kind of have that religious connection to kind of just like remind me like this is not all there is, like
a sense of stability.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. It's hard to explain. There's like a lot more to it.
I get that.
Like it's really hard to explain. Cameron.
No, it's interesting. Like, can you explain to me like what are the like the lessons that or the things that the teachers like have taught you that is really like something that whenever things are looking rough that you turn back to that? Because like
I could talk about the last lesson they did. It was on Sunday. This one's like not like one of the most deepest stuff that we learned. So when you say
it's like a break, is it?
It's not like a break. It's like.
Is that the wrong word?
Yeah, that's the wrong word. I used the wrong word. It's like it's not like it keeps you in check. It's just like makes you
grounding.
Know. Yeah, it kind of grounds you and makes you know that like don't put your whole life into like these like trivial things.
Absolutely.
Because like that's not what it's all about, you know?
Absolutely.
And like, because I feel like a lot of the times like people they get sucked into like things that are like really important in their lives, and that's like not a bad thing. They're not saying like you can't try to be a good swimmer because that's bad, you know? It's more like you get so sucked into it that like you start to lose focus of like the things that are like really important in your lives, like the relationships that you have in your lives and like family and like friends and stuff. And if you pour like all of yourself, like for example, college, freaking college. If you pour yourself into like getting into freaking Harvard or something, and then you kind of like lose sense of what's really important. Like, is getting into that college like really important? Like it is, but it's not like, it shouldn't be your whole life, you know? And then once you actually get there, like what then? Like you get a good job, like, and all that stuff. But like, what then, you know? So I feel like it's good to like learn about that type of stuff, because then you know, like, you keep yourself in check. You know not to like literally pour yourself into like these things. Like, it's good to work at them, but to literally put your like whole life into these things, like, I don't think that's something that people should do.
I really resonate with that, Jeana.
Yeah, I know.
I really like that. I've never seen this side of the Jeana.
It's just like, I'm so like passionate about it, Cameron. I never talk about this type of stuff. Yeah, and so the lesson...
I feel it.
I know. I feel it. The lesson that we learned... Wait, oh my god. I went to a church retreat, like, a couple weeks ago. It was, like, a winter church retreat. And at first, like, usually when they're like, okay, we're having a church retreat, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to go. Like, I have homework and I have other stuff to do. But usually my family goes, so then my mom's like, you have to go. And so I went, and then every time I go, like, I never regret it. I'm like, okay, like, I literally had some, like, soul cleansing right now. And, like, now I'm back on this earth, and, like, I know, like, what my life is about, you know? It, like, kind of redirects you. And so during this retreat, I forget what it was about, but I've been going through some, like, hard stuff. I've been getting, it was, like, college apps, like, before that, and, like, it was just super stressful, and I had so much going on with, like, classes and college and scholarship applications and whatnot, and I was getting really like wrapped up around that type of stuff. And then I went to this retreat, and I was so busy, Cameron. I was like, I can't go to this retreat. I have to like freaking study. Like, I can't just like get out of track and stuff. But then I went, and the guy who like talked about, who like did all the like the messages and stuff for the group, like, literally touched on, like, the exact thing that I was going through. It was about, like, all the voices that are in your head, like, you need to be good at this, you need to, like, these are just examples, like, you need to study hard, you need to, like, get a good job, like, you need, like, all those, like, little distractions in your head that are constantly, like, playing in your head, you know? He was talking about that, and then, he was like, yeah, you need to, like, we should, like, really, like, clear those voices from our head and just take time to, like, focus on what's really important, which is, like, your relationship with God. And I know I'm, like, tackling some, like, really big spiritual stuff. But basically, it just, like, really, like, resonated with me. Like, on the first night that he gave his message, which was the day we went, I was like, oh my god, like, this is, like, literally exactly what I'm going through.
Wow.
And I was like, this is some weird stuff. And like, it almost made it, like, it's kind of like overwhelming, like how sometimes the messages that people give just like really like impact you, and like you really resonate with it. Like, I'm not even joking here, like sometimes it just really hits you. And I think it's because it's like a different level of hitting you, because, like, when you learn something at school, like, it hits you, like, oh, that makes sense. But, like, at church, when they talk about something, it's, like, at an emotional or, like, spiritual level that just, like, it, like, kind of brings things out that you probably haven't, like, thought about before, and you kind of, like, push it aside. But then it, like, brings it out, and it makes you, like, reflect on that, and then you also have time to, like, talk to, like, your teachers about it and your mentors, and then they kind of, like, talk to you about what they also went through in their lives, and they kind of, like, help guide you throughout, like, all the stressful situations that you are going throughout in your life, and they help you, like, let you, like, vent out, like, what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So do you try to convey that energy that you feel onto your students?
Yes, I try to. It's been kind of rough recently because our church moved buildings, so it's, like, kind of farther away, and so not a lot of people have been coming to Friday nights. But usually, like, during our Friday night lessons, I just try to, like, get them to, I make it, like, an environment for them to, like, open up about whatever they're going on in their lives. Like, I want it to be a time where they could just, you know, talk about anything, really, and, like, just vent, and, like, talk about your stressful lives, and, like, kind of, like, resonate with each other. And, like, if you do that as a group, then it kind of, like, really brings you closer. And it's also just good to, like, let things out and have people, like, really listen and just, like, encourage you and, like, help guide you. Like, I'm kind of, like, a mentor figure to these kids. And so, like, as an older person who's had more experience, I kind of help guide them through, like, whatever stressful situation they're going on in their lives. Like, some of them have, like, parents going through a divorce. Some of them are, like, really wrapped up around, like, academics. Like, I need to freaking do good on, like, school, and, like, they're super stuck in that pressure. But I think when I kind of encourage them to, like, open up about that type of stuff, then it's, like, kind of healthy for them. And we do it every Friday night, so it's, like, I think it's, like, really good for them to just open up and for us to, like, kind of guide each other. And also, like, helps me keep in check with that type of stuff as well. Because I think teaching is one of the best ways of, like, learning, you know?
So what do you tell them to help them, like, get through that type of thing?
Most of the time I kind of just try to remind them that, like, this is not all there is to life, you know? Like, kind of what I was saying before, like, yes, you should work on it. It's not a bad thing that you're working on it. That's good that you have, like, this motivation to work on your studies or whatnot. But this is, just because you don't get into freaking UCLA, that doesn't mean that's the end of the world, you know? And for some people, it is. Like, you know how people, like, commit suicide? They freaking, like, don't get into, like, Harvard or something, and, like, they're used to being, like, the best, and then they're not, and then they're like, oh my god, that's it, like, my life is over. But I kind of help them to, I kind of, like, broaden their perspectives, I feel like. And I also have a problem with that. So by broadening their perspectives, I broaden my own perspective, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's, like, it's good. It's, like, a mutual, like, win-win situation.
Jeana, that's beautiful.
Thanks.
Jeana, that's really cool.
Dude, I just, like, that just, like, that was, like, I feel like I've been bottling all of this inside of me, and now it's just, like, a freaking explosion of, like, whatnot. Like, I don't even know what I said.
Do you notice a difference between regular Cameron and podcast Cameron?
Podcast Cameron is, no, you guys are, like, the same.
Well, that's good.
You guys are, like, literally the same.
That's good. That's good. I like what you said about, like, really listening. I like how you say, like, about creating an environment to where these kids really feel somebody's listening to them, because in the regular hustle and bustle, it feels like nobody listens to you. It feels like you're so insignificant, and when when you build those communities, it really strengthens, and it really gives you a sense of importance. Yeah. And, like, purpose, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I really like that.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Wow. Well, I guess we have to wrap it up right now.
What time is it?
It's 10:49.
10:49. I got to go to my marine bio class now.
With Doug?
Doug Mason.
Doug Mason. Shouts out Doug Mason. Go listen to the Doug Mason podcast. Shouts out.
Listen to that. You'll learn about marine biology and Mr. Mason's passion for the ocean.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Thank you very much for joining me, Jeana.
You're welcome, Cameron. Thank you for letting me vent out about my spiritual life.
I appreciate it. I fully appreciate it, Jeana. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any closing remarks that you want to send home?
I just want to say, what do I want to say?
Life goes on.
Life goes on.
That's not what you want to say.
Just do the best that you can in everything that you do. And it's okay if you are not the best at everything that you do. And that is that.
Thank you very much for listening. Take care, folks.
Adios.